down 15 early, just didn't seem to be having anything go your way. What did it kind of take, and what did you see from the group to stabilize and get back into it?
Well, down early, I thought was, they came out hot. They made a lot of shots. Our defense was a little bit soft, wasn't what it needed to be, but it was really our offense. I mean, we turned it over 2 of the first 4 possessions. We took a bunch of crappy shots. We didn't play smart there. Once we kind of settled into a rhythm and figured out where our shots were going to come from, it was way, way better. Our bench was huge, for sure, in every way. They kind of came in the game at the right time too. So.
Naz with the 7 threes. I mean, when you see what kind of a weapon, I guess, is he for you, especially when he's knocking down shots like that?
I mean, he's huge. He's just been our most consistent bench, producer. Does it in a lot of different ways. Obviously, he's got a lot of confidence in his threes. He's been shooting really well this year, but he's been doing a lot more than that. He gives us another gear in transition. His off the dribble game has been great. Driving and kicking even. So, yeah, absolutely huge. And then, it's also helps us survive nights when tough for Anthony and we're missing a score there. So, couldn't happen at a better time.
You still haven't lost consecutive games this season. Is there kind of something about this team that has been able to kind of bounce back? Page quickly.
Yeah, they refocus fast. I think they're super competitive. Staying in the moment. It's a long season. We know that, but they dial in. They don't really let one performance bleed into the next. I think that we talked a lot of different ways to be more mature as a team, and that was one of them. We would have like these headaches from and these hangover games last year, and this is a team that's way more mature. So it's just another example of it.
You mentioned that maturity and the ability to bounce back. How else have you seen that maturity, and how has the maturity happened?
Yeah, I mean, composure when we're down. We stay within the game plan. We stay within the system. Just being a little less emotional out there. We led the league in technicals last year. This year, we're way more composed. We're more about our basketball. And just the way we communicate with each other is, I think, very purposeful and a lot more mature in that way. So,
what's the Mike Conley influence there?
He's like, he's everybody's big brother, really. Calm, steady. He's not super vocal, in any rah-rah way, but when he talks, everyone's listening, and he's always talking to people individually, way more than a group. But he's definitely a guy that, whether he wanted to be the leader of this team or not, our guys look to him, and he's taking it and run with it.
When it comes to, you kind of mentioned Naz, the timing of a night like tonight being pretty good. Do you sense that he can kind of sense that, and that the team maybe senses that, look, Naz is the guy who really has it going tonight? Let's try to kind of focus things around him, try to get him as good a shots as possible.
Honestly, the great thing about Naz's game is it all came in the flow. I mean, we didn't call a single play for him. He just spaced the floor well, was patient. Guys started finding him in the, that's what we needed to do in the first 7 or 8 minutes of the game. So that's the great thing I love about him. We almost never call play for him. So.
Rudy has said a lot of times this year that one of the mentalities that has to happen is you're going to give up buckets on defense. It's going to happen. You just have to stay in the fight.
Yeah.
I mean, did you see them just kind of grind Dallas down a little bit as it went on and just kind of keep, not giving in to the early onslaught?
Yeah, I think, like I said, defensively, we fouled early, and then Luka had a bunch of, hit a bunch of tough shots, and we just needed to close the gaps around him for sure. Played a little bit more physicality and force at the point of attack. But, yeah, I wasn't too worried, the defensive part. I was more the offense that really concerned me out of the gate. And when you play a team that's an offensive team like this, you got to score with them at times until you can get on a little bit of a defensive run. So that was what had me most concerned, John.
And Nikhil seemed like with a couple shots, but then the cut to the basket
Yeah.
too really kind of helped in the second quarter.
A lot of little things, it just kind of sparked us. He got us 2 easy ones when we needed it most,
So for Cat, a lot's changed over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Rudy coming in, that's a massive adjustment, and descending.
Yeah.
What do you think about the way that Cat has kind of adapted and how he's been able to fit with this team?
Yeah, it's been huge for this thing working. It took him probably half a dozen games, maybe 8 games to kind of figure out like his new rhythm and spacing off the ball and waiting and picking his spots a little bit better. Once he found that, he put a run of games together, which was really impactful. Now with like Jaden back and Ant back and everyone come back at the same time, like we're a little bit out of sync. But I'm really proud of Cat and the way he's stayed patient, stayed ready, still makes big shots. And then tonight he was a monster on the offensive glass. We've talked a lot about being a big team and doing those types of things. Playing with size around the bucket, and he was really, really big on the glass tonight. So really proud of him. He always had a great chemistry with Rudy. But, when you try to build that chemistry plus Ant, we had to reestablish our chemistry with Ant, because last year we spent so much time in spread pick and roll. But previously, Ant and Cat had always had a good, top of the floor chemistry. So just all these layers are just kind of have taken another step forward. And really, Cat's at the center of it, and his sacrifice and his willingness to kind of play that way has been key. He really has. So it's long-winded, but.
Any other questions? Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.